So today I want to talk about, this is frequent asked questions. Like sometimes you practice for a little while and then you started to develop more clarity. And then you started to see some of these mental habituation that have mental habitual pattern that you unable to see it before, but you started to see that, I react in a certain way. Why is this coming from? Why I react this way? And now most people that try very hard to figure out why I react this way. They try very hard. So normally my advice is that don't try to figure out why you react this way, because you started to see, it's just like, you started to see not a full picture, it's just a corner. But if you try very hard, because you are not seeing the full picture, because as your clarity becomes, increase, you see more and more and more. Because now you started to have some clarity, and then you started to see a little bit the picture of that. But then if you try very hard to figure out why I reacted where, why I have this certain reaction towards that, why I have this pattern. In the past, I didn't realize that I have this. Why? Then you try to figure out why, Because when you do that, then actually you reinforce your underlying tendency to proliferation, because you're not seeing the full picture, but you're trying to fill it up, like the rest of the picture. But actually you're not seeing, and it's all your speculation, your speculation. You try to fill up the rest of the picture, to make up the whole picture. But then that is not what actually what it is, So actually, not to worry about that, Actually, you keep practicing, you keep, as your mind become, as you develop, you strengthen your mindfulness become stronger and stronger. Your awareness become very strong, and actually, it's naturally your awareness, your clarity, will deepen. So as you deepen, actually, eventually you can see the full picture. But a lot of people try to figure it out. When you try to figure it out, actually, it's all your own speculation. It's just like like puzzles, and then you have a bit. Then you try to fill up the other bit. It's our own thinking, our own imagination, our own speculation. We fill up the rest of the whole picture, but that is not actually what it is. So that's why I said, don't have to worry about that. You just keep, practicing. You keep, you realize that. Then slowly one day you see it. Then you realize, then you know where it's coming from, why you react in a certain way. The mind will see itself. That's why yesterday there was one very good question people asked. Isn't it? It's very painful if you practice present moment awareness. And because it's something that is painful. Then this present moment, and then you be with what is now, and then isn't it painful? But actually, when we said that, when there's something pleasant or unpleasant, when we develop, establish present moment awareness, whatever comes out, we are not part of it. We just know what it is. It's just aware of that. Pleasant, unpleasant. It's just pleasant. It's not part of us, but very easily we get involved. We are part of it. This is mine. This belongs to me. Then when we get involved, we no longer being present. So present moment awareness, you just know, whatever comes up in your mind. For example, when we meditate, sometimes our object is a breathing. So okay, if something comes up, it's unpleasant. Then you just know that it's unpleasant, we go back to the breath again. Again and again we come back. That is because sometimes when we get involved, then we are no longer being present. For example, if you practice mindfulness on breath, so your mindfulness, your object is a breath. Then is any unpleasant things comes up, or some of the memories, something pops up, and then your mind. We get involved, we entertain that. But we don't entertain. We come back, we stay with the breath. We just leave it. Because if we entertain that, then we get involved, It's just like, we just observe pain is just pain. It's like nothing to do with me. We just like, the third party, you're just observing, oh, this is pain. You are not part of it. When you become part of it, this is why, because this is become my pain. Sometimes isn't it, if you focus, the pain that, oh, this is my pain, the more you focus on it, actually, initially it's not that painful, but actually, we reinforce that. But if you be able to just, observe, and this pain is just like an object. It's nothing to do with you. Actually, I know someone, one of my relatives. She used to have migraine headache. So that's why sometimes she sit down, she used to have a lot of pain. But then, because her mindfulness is very strong, she be able to just observe the pain, like the pain is nothing to do with her. And then she go into quite deep meditation, and then she started to go into the nimitta state, it's very bright, and then she can sit for long hours. Then somehow she practiced for a while, and then she no longer having that pain. then she tried to look for where is the pain, because the pain is very obvious, Then she can focus, but because she is not involved, the pain is only the object. You are not in it. The problem is when we are in it, we suffer because like this belongs to me, my pain. This is me, because it's very difficult to train the mind not to get involved. That's why sometimes I ask people that, that if your mindfulness is not strong enough, you're unable to do that. That's why sometimes I ask people to go back if it's too intense. So I ask people to go back, to maybe just to the bodily sensations, because your mindfulness is not strong enough to just not to get affected, not to get involved. Is very difficult unless your mindfulness is so strong that you don't get affected. You don't suck in. You just observe that. So normally, if unable to do that, I normally ask people to go back to just to relax the body, go back to the body, Or sometimes do the breathing exercise, do the breathing, breathing in pain, breathing out peace, make peace with that. So until, it subsides, then you continue go back to your breath again. Because sometimes, when you get involved, then you're no longer present because because present moment awareness, you're just aware of whatever happened, but we are not part of it. But that is difficult, isn't it? Because we've been always very easily get drawn in so easily, like immediately because of the sense of self, like this is me, mine, like very quickly our hand, like we grab it very quickly, mine, because the attachment to the sense of self, who we are. Because when we have very strong sense of self, and this is me, my pain. I feel agitated, then I should be agitated for the rest of my life. It belongs to me. I remember someone said to me that, I'm so worried. I'm going for a retreat, but at this moment I feel so agitated. Then she started to have that speculation so I will have a very agitated retreat, because now I will be going on retreat tomorrow, but now at this moment I feel very agitated. So she thinks that the agitation belongs to her, and she wants to keep it with her to the retreat. Then I told her that even the most agitated person in the world, they still have a moment they're not agitated. I told her. She said, oh yes, good point, she said. I said, it doesn't belong to you, because how our speculation, whatever we experience in this moment, we tend to identify as me. I'm going to be like that for the rest of my life. I'm going to be like this, this is me. I belong to this. But to be able to just be like the observer, you just observe, okay, whatever comes up, this is what it is, like pain is just pain. Like sometimes depression come, okay, just depression, nothing to do with me. It's just everything arises. Actually, you leave it alone. You leave it. Actually, it will pass away. It won't stay there forever. You just leave it. It will pass. So the moment it passes, the moment that that for example fear arises, then you just know that this is fear, And sometimes you just observe fear, but nothing to do with you. When the fear hit the maximum point, it bounds to subside. It will not keep going, up. There is a certain point that when it reaches the maximum points, actually it subsides. The same thing. But that is very difficult for us not to get involved, especially when your mindfulness is not strong enough. Your mindfulness strong enough, you'll be able to do that. Just to observe is nothing to do with me. This is just pain. But it's very difficult, isn't it? So normally I told people, if you find it too difficult, you go back. Go back to feel your body, to feel how your body reacts to that unpleasant feelings, to that pain, how your body reacts. So sometimes when you have certain emotions, sometimes it's manifest in our body. Sometimes we have tightness. Sometimes you feel that it's a tension in your body. So you're just aware of the tension, aware of the body, and then you try to relax your body. So then that is also another way to resolve that, and then because to be able to have that, the mindfulness on, just to observe the pain, actually you have to have very strong mindfulness. But then if you don't have strong mindfulness, we can't force, isn't it? We can't do that. We are not there. Then we have to go back to the coarser object. Because observing pain is not easy, because it's a more subtle object compared to bodily sensations, feelings. So you go back and relax your body. And sometimes when you relax your body, because normally, most of the time when we have any emotions, is normally you feel tense up, That's why sometimes you feel tense up, you tighten up. Then when you relax your body, it's help to ease, your emotion. That is also another way to go back to your body. Doing body contemplation is help, because bodily feeling sensation is a coarser object. It's easy to focus compared to like mental object. Like sometimes some emotion come up because it's a more subtle object. Even sometimes people can't even observe breath, because breath is also more subtle compared to bodily, bodily feelings and sensation. That's why I always encourage people, you go back to the coarser object. Like sometimes even some people, when the mindfulness is not strong enough, so as the breath become more and more subtle, they say, oh, I can't feel the breath. And then they feel like, that they go to sleep, because then they say, oh, how come, it's very nice, that when you become start to feel peaceful, and your mind become your breath become very, very subtle. But because your mindfulness is not strong enough to be able to focus on that subtle object, because your mind is not subtle enough, then normally most of the time people will tend to go sleeping. There's sometimes people sit there, it's very comfortable, it's very nice, you just sit there and then you fall asleep. And then they sleep for 1 hour, 2 hours, then they think that their meditation so did that because they sleep for 2 hours, And that is quite common. People just do that, sit there, And then actually it's quite common because of mindfulness is not strong enough. So that's why sometimes we go back to the coarser object. One of the way we can just maybe to go back to the coarser breath, to make our breath a little bit coarser, we just a little bit more effort put into our breath, then you feel much more your breath, then you continue. It's very, just mindfully doing it. Then you keep continue. But if you find that it's still difficult, then you go back to body contemplation. Then after that you go back again. Because sometimes like some people said to me, they sit for a little while because they started to they feel the leg is really painful, but actually they feel like they still want to continue to sit, but the body wouldn't let it, So I normally say it's okay. You just, because breathing is mindfulness on the breath, the breathing is a more subtle. I said, never mind, you just slowly, aware, you just change your object, aware of your leg, and then you just slowly aware the movement on your leg, because so that your mindfulness is not you're not breaking it like continuous, but you're changing object, aware, and then you put your leg, you stretch a little bit away, fully aware of your leg, and then you fully, you feel better, and then you sit, and then you continue. Because sometimes if you just stop, get up like that, sometimes it's very difficult to continue. So like to try to keep the continuity, you just slowly, sometimes you just sit, you're just aware of that, okay, there's a bit of pain, so you slowly stretch your leg, aware of that, and then slowly put it back, and then fully aware of your movement and your leg, and then slowly, then you go back to your breath again. Like the mindfulness is more like continuing, not, keep the continuity, so not to break it. That's why sometimes, even with that, make your breath a little bit coarser. Don't do it too hard. If you try to do it too hard, you do like this, that you break, That you try to keep the continuity, so that if not, you have to start all over again, And then sometimes you have to just, maintain that. So it's okay, because sometimes it's no point, like if it's too painful, it's affect, you can't really continue to say it. So you can just very mindfully aware that, just stretch your body, just aware of that, and slowly come back and you continue to sit. And sometimes you don't have to, if you straight away you get up, then next time, whenever you have pain, then you stop there. And then you will never, get to sit, longer. But sometimes actually your mind wanted to say, you feel like you want to say, but sometimes because the body wouldn't let you, because the body is really ill, but actually you're quite peaceful, and then you're quite happy to continue. But because of, your leg is pain, your knee is pain, that affect you. And then if you try to put up with that, then actually can be counterproductive. But mindfully, aware of the stretching your leg, just aware of that, do it very mindfully. Just like changing your meditation object, just aware of your body movement, and then slowly you come back, and then continue with the breath. There's also another way, So that's why sometimes like just now I already that if you started to see something, some of the mental habitual pattern that you haven't seen it before, that you started to see that, oh, I react in a certain way. Why I react that way? So remember, don't try to figure out why you feel that way, why you react that way, because you don't have the full picture. So if you try to figure out, you try to make up all the story yourself, this is your own speculation, that you try to fill up the rest of the picture. And that is it's become counterproductive, because it's going to reinforce your underlying tendency to proliferation. Then next time you think more, you become, because you give fuel to feeding it. Then then next time you have the tendency, overthinking, thinking too much. Always try to, when you meditate, rather than just be with this moment, but actually you start to analyze. Your mind becomes very, very active. Thinking is very, very active, and actually it's counterproductive. You just leave it as it is. You just know that, okay, you started to see a little bit. You leave it. So as your mind, you just continue to deepen your practice, to deepen your mindfulness. When your mindfulness becomes stronger and stronger, it's naturally you become aware. Then you started to see more and more and more. Then eventually you will see the whole picture. But don't try to figure out why. If you try to figure out why, it will become counterproductive. So this is something today that I share with you. I hope this will help you with your practice. So now we can meditate now, okay? Just find the most comfortable posture and just make yourself at ease and at peace, and just relax and as comfortable as you can. Before we start the breath meditation, we spend a few moments to being in this present moment awareness, fully aware of your posture, your bodily feelings and sensations, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. You just simply just observe that it's unpleasant or pleasant, acknowledging it and accept that. And let it be. If there's a thought arises, so not to entertain, not to get involved, thinking about the unpleasant feelings or why you feel this way, just knowing that it's unpleasant. Just observe, acknowledge, accept, and let it be. As you experience some inner peace, your mind is peaceful enough, then you can start to observe your breath. Is any questions or comments? Excuse me. Thank you. So there's a first question is that, Dear Ajahn Hasapanna, does peace come automatically after we don't get involved with our present moment situation? And how do we proceed after that in meditation? How does being mindful connect with peace? Yeah, it will come naturally because your mind is not getting involved, and your mind becomes getting still. And then you're being how to connect with the peace. You just be with the peace, just being with the peace. This is how you connect with the peace. And sometimes, when the peace comes, you naturally be at ease and at peace with that. You naturally the mind inclined towards that. You don't have to deliberately, now I feel peaceful, I'm going to connect with peace. No, actually it's quite natural when you become peaceful, isn't it? Then you naturally that mind just happy to stay there, and you don't want to go anywhere, isn't it? It actually is a natural process. We don't have to do anything. The peace comes, and then when your mind becomes still peaceful, you naturally incline, just like happy to stay with that peace. Who want to move away, isn't it, from peace, isn't it, when you're peaceful? Actually, it's a natural process. So we don't have to deliberately to do something. Oh, now I'm peaceful, so I have to connect with peace. Because it's naturally when you become peaceful, the mind naturally inclined, you want to stay with that. So not to worry about that, and don't try to, now I'm peaceful, now I have to hold on to the peace so that the peace will stay with me. So the moment if you think like that, gone. Just stay with that, just let it be. Okay. And questions from Shubi UK, how to develop compassion or thoughts of loving kindness to someone you feel has wronged you or hurt you with metta. Okay. Because sometimes it's not easy to develop that compassion or thoughts of loving kindness to someone, because the moment you think of the person, and it's very naturally all the nasty thing that this person have done, isn't it? And it's quite not so easy. So that's why one of the way you can don't start with, because that is a difficult one, don't start with directly have that thoughts of loving kindness towards that person that have done you, have wronged you or hurt you, because sometimes it's always very easy, it's triggered. It's a difficult one, unless you have your metta, your loving kindness is so strong, then you'll be able to do that. But normally it's quite difficult. I know some people that they try to do that, then it's ended up that the moment they try to send loving kindness, a thoughts of loving kindness toward the person, and then all the horrible things will come out. It's very difficult. So then my advice to this person, I said, you can send loving kindness towards yourself. May I have that thoughts of loving kindness. May I have the thoughts of compassion and kindness towards this person, rather than forcing yourself, I should be able to do that, I should have loving kindness. Actually can be counterproductive. Actually sometimes you trigger, you will reinforce your underlying tendency of ill will. It become counterproductive. Rather than you develop loving kindness, actually you increase your ill will towards that person. Because whenever you try to force yourself doing something, when you're using willpower and you're using force, that is always counterproductive. You reinforce that. then it always trigger, and reinforce the underlying tendency of ill will. So it's okay, you send loving kindness. Like for example, most people that they understand that that to hold grudges against someone that they know that cause them suffering, and they want to let go, they want to forgive, but they just can't forgive. When some people that try to force themselves to forgive, counterproductive. We don't have to. If your mind not ready, you find it difficult to forgive, we don't have to force ourselves to forgive. We can always send loving kindness to ourselves. May I be able to forgive this person. So I remember this person come to me, is one of my relatives, because she been abused for many years, and then she after that she divorced, and then she said that she didn't want to hold on, to have any anger, ill will towards her ex-husband, because she know that it's not really good for her, because it's holding on to that. She is the one who suffer. But then she tried to do loving kindness, but she said very difficult. Then I told her that no, you send loving kindness to it yourself. Wish yourself that may I have that thoughts of loving kindness towards this person. And then later she come back to me. She said, "Oh, it's much doable. It's easier. I can do it." She said, and it's helped her. And then slowly, after years of practice, she told me that now even she think of her ex, she doesn't have that anymore. Like, actually it takes a while, it won't go away, it takes some practice, and then she keep doing that, and then she said now she's okay. When think of him, he said that she doesn't, but last time it's very difficult. Whenever this person pops out in her mind, her anger was just so much anger, that's why she knows that it's no good, because whenever she think of her ex-husband, and she got so much anger, and she knows that it's no good for her, and she didn't want to, hold on to that, because it's not for her own well-being, it's not beneficial to her. And then after I told her that it's okay, I said, you don't have to send loving kindness, but towards yourself, may I have the thoughts of loving kindness, may I be able to forgive him. At this moment you can't forgive, it's fine, because sometimes if you force yourself to forgive, it's counterproductive. Your mind is not ready, you're not ready. So you just send. You keep doing that, slowly, little by little. Actually, this is also part of you recondition yourself. It's also how you brainwash yourself. So you started to have that, to develop that loving kindness. So then don't try to send directly to the person, but you can send to yourself first. Dear Ajahn, is ill will the voice and life forces of ego? When we rid ourselves of the ego, does metta naturally becomes a permeating mind state? Yeah, ill will is also partly because it's also come from the sense of self, the delusion. The ill will, greed is come from the sense of self. This is me and mine. And whenever we can't get what we want, we got upset. But because, for example, even someone criticizes, we got upset because this is naturally we have we defend a sense of self, who we are. When someone criticizes, then we feel hurt. This is me and mine, because you hold on to that this is my identity. You say something that is, I'm not like this, I'm very nice, I'm very kind, but you said that I'm not kind, then you this is a sense of self being threatened. Then naturally we have that kind of try to protect the sense of self. That's why yes, evil is and the voice and the life force of the ego. Yeah, when we rid ourselves of the ego, this metta naturally becomes all permeating mind state. Because the smaller the ego, the bigger the ego, the easier you get upset and get angry. The ego get smaller and smaller, you don't get angry easily, because whatever people say does not affect you. When you have big ego, you get hurt very easily. How they talk about me? This is me. How come you talk about me? But then if you have small ego, whatever other people say, okay, it's fine. You don't feel hurt easily. They said when someone has very big ego, you get hurt so easily. So as you practice, your mind, as your ego becomes smaller and smaller, and naturally you become kinder, more compassionate, have more love, and you become wiser, because the sense of self, the ego, because the ill will, all this unwholesome state of mind comes from the sense of self, and this unwholesome state of mind, that really causes a lot of suffering. And because when your sense of self reduce, actually your unwholesome state of mind also reduce. So that's why it's naturally, when your ego becomes smaller, then you naturally you have more loving kindness and you're more compassionate. It's come naturally. You cannot say, I want to be compassionate, I want to be kind. Actually, it comes naturally, because this is the purification of when your mind becomes purer and purer, and when your defilements reduce, you are naturally kind and compassionate. So the whole path of practice, enlightenment is a natural process. You cannot use willpower and make things happen, or try to control. It just naturally, as defilements reduce, as your mind becomes purer and purer, you're naturally kind and compassionate. You look at children, normally they are naturally kind, isn't it? But children, that naturally, because the children, they're really the mind, they're much more purer than adult. That of course as they grow up, then the defilements grow. As kids, you see, they're naturally kind. Because of the purity. So there's a purity. So that is natural. So as your mind becomes purer and purer, and then when you have the purity, you're naturally kind and naturally compassionate. So I hope this makes sense to you, and I hope that this answers your questions. So any more questions or comments from them? Yes. Can someone give her the mic?
Thank you for everything you've taught today. It's been just beautiful. Thank you. I was thinking, you talked before about forgiving ourselves, or asking for I'd like to get the words for that again, for us to be able to forgive.
Yeah.
So maybe the grace to be able to do that. Is that a word, or you used a
or
different
you just
word?
send, for example, you just sit down,
may
relax,
I be,
and then you send loving kindness. May I be able to forgive myself?
Okay.
May I be able to forgive someone? May I have loving kindness towards that person? So you are sincerely wishing yourself. We can always send good wishes and goodwill to ourselves. So that actually is help us to develop that thoughts of loving kindness.
Okay, so this is the second part of my question.
Yeah.
So I used to, there's someone that I haven't forgiven, and I just haven't been able to, and I've done everything. And I look at be gentle and quiet spirit, and I always think, that's what I'm meant to be. And so someone said to me, can you be willing to forgive? And I thought about it, and I thought, no. Yeah. This is serious. Yeah. And she said, would you be willing to be willing? And I said, no.
Yeah.
And then she said, would you be willing to be willing to be willing? And I said, no. We went back about 7 willings. And in the end, I thought, well, I have to forgive, so I've got to. So what I actually did was suppressed it. It's not the same thing. And what you're saying is forget about forgiving for now. At the moment, just say, I have it in me to forgive.
Because sometimes it's like we forcing ourselves to forgive someone. Like, I will forgive. I will be able to do it. It's okay. We just being honest to ourselves. It's okay. It's fine. We are not there. We actually is also being kind to ourselves. We kind to ourselves. We being honest to ourselves how we feel. We are not trying to live in denial and just that, okay, I should be kind, I should be able to forgive. If I can't forgive, I'm bad, I'm terrible. No, it's not. It's just, it's okay. We're being honest, you're being honest about that, honest about how we feel, and we love ourselves as we are. Even though, yes, at this moment I don't have that kind of loving kindness to someone, or I can't forgive the person. I'm not a bad person, But people tend to judge themselves that bad if I can't do it. We have the identity thinking that, if I'm someone very forgiving, that I'm good. We have this, this sense, this identity, the idea of who we should be. It's okay. It's also loving kindness towards ourselves. We love ourselves as we are. It's okay. Even this moment, I have ill will towards this person, we recognize that ill will is there. But then we send loving kindness towards ourselves. May I have no ill will. May I have no ill will towards others. Rather than I should do it, like I should live up to this image. Then if I can't do it, that means I'm bad, I'm terrible. No, we don't encourage people to judge themselves. We don't judge ourselves. We just, okay, this is how we feel. We accept who we are. This is the true loving kindness towards ourselves. We just like the mother towards the children. They love the children as they are. That's why we love ourselves as we are. It's okay that I'm not perfect. It's okay that I have ill will. I love myself as I am, as how we are. And that is also loving kindness. Loving kindness is not only to others, to ourselves is very important. So when we develop that, it's naturally you have loving kindness towards others. So does that answer your questions? Okay. So, is there any more questions or comments? No? Okay. So we end up this session. And thank you for listening.